Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, where we make sense of the money maze. And let me tell you, INTERPARFUMS just filed a proxy statement that's more packed than a perfume bottle on a discount day. They're holding their annual meeting on September 10th, and this document is like a business roadmap detailing who's in charge, how they're paid, and what the company's planning for the future. Think of it as the ultimate shareholder's guide to the perfume powerhouse. So what's on the agenda for this September meeting? Well, shareholders will vote on electing a board of directors, giving their thumbs up or down on executive pay, and approving a rather interesting plan to cancel something called hook shares. Now let's talk about who actually owns the company. As of July 1st, 2025, INTERPARFUMS had over 32 million shares outstanding. The heavy hitters here are Jean Madar and Philippe Benacin, who together control over 43% of the company's stock. This means their decisions have a massive impact. Jean Madar, who's the chairman and CEO, along with Philippe Benacin, the president, seem to have a long-standing agreement to vote their shares in the same direction. This kind of alignment between major shareholders and leadership is pretty common, and it often means that management's proposals, like director elections, tend to get approved. Now for a bit of corporate housekeeping, they're proposing to cancel what they call hook shares. Basically, a subsidiary of INTERPARFUMS owns a bunch of the company's own stock. Cancelling these shares is like tidying up the ownership structure, and it's expected to prevent any future dilution of shareholder value. It sounds a bit technical, but the goal is pretty straightforward. Keep things cleaner for existing shareholders. Let's dive into what everyone really cares about: executive pay. The company emphasizes a pay-for-performance strategy, aiming to attract and retain top talent without breaking the bank. They mentioned that their executive compensation is comparable to other companies of similar size in the fragrance industry. Looking at the summary compensation table for 2024, we see Jean Madar, the CEO, received a total compensation of about $2 million, primarily in fees paid to his holding company. Michael Atwood, the CFO, earned around $958,000, which included his salary, a bonus, and option awards. For the European operations, Philippe Benacin, president and CEO of INTERPARFUMS INC, had a total compensation of over $1.2 million, and Philippe Santai, executive vice president, also saw a high compensation of over $1.2 million, and Philippe Santai a total compensation of over $1.2 million, and Philippe Santi, executive vice president, also saw a high compensation of over CEO of INTERPARFUMS INC. Had a total compensation of over $1.2 million, and Philippe Santi, executive vice president, also saw a high compensation package. It's worth noting that Michael Atwood only joined as CFO in September 2022, and his compensation reflects that recent transition. It's interesting to see the significant difference in compensation between the US CEO and the French CEO, with Jean Madar's compensation significantly higher, largely due to the fees paid to his holding company. When we look at how their pay is structured, especially the equity awards, things get a bit more complex. The tables showing the inclusion of equity values break down how the performance of the company's stock affects the actual compensation received. For Jean Madar in 2024, the equity adjustments resulted in a reduction of his compensation, while for the other named executive officers, the adjustments also led to a decrease. And what about the gap between the CEO and the average worker? For 2024, INTERPARFUMS reported that their median employee's compensation was about $83,000, while CEO Jean Madar's total feed to one. Keep in mind that the SEC allows for different methods in calculating this ratio, so direct comparisons with other companies should be made cautiously. The company also detailed their dividend policy, showing a steady increase in dividends paid per share from $2 in 2022 to over $3 by 2025. This is generally a positive sign for shareholders, indicating the company is returning profits to them. Now, about that say on pay vote. Shareholders are asked to approve the executive compensation as detailed in the report. While the vote isn't binding, it serves as a clear signal to the board about shareholder sentiment on how the company handles executive pay. Given the overall compensation structure, which includes bonuses and option awards tied to performance, it seems they're aiming for alignment with shareholder interests. Let's get back to those hook shares. The proposal to cancel these shares held by their French subsidiary is seen as a move to simplify their corporate structure and prevent potential future share dilution. The company believes this won't negatively impact their operations or financial health. On the auditor front, they're sticking with Forvis Mazars. The fees for audit and other services are detailed, and it seems pretty standard for a company of this size. Director compensation is also laid out, showing fees for board and committee meetings, along with stock options. It's clear the company uses a mix of cash and equity to compensate its directors, aiming to align their interests with the company's performance. The corporate performance graph is a crucial visual. It compares INTERPARFUM's stock performance against the Nasdaq Composite, an accustomed peer group of beauty and apparel companies. Over the period from December 2019 to December 2024, INTERPARFUMS has shown impressive growth, with its stock value increasing significantly more than both the Nasdaq and its peer group. This suggests a strong business strategy and effective market execution. The relationship between executive compensation and the company's performance is a key focus. The data here shows how changes in total shareholder return relate to the compensation paid to the CEO and other top executives. While the compensation figures are complex, the overall trend indicates an attempt to link pay to shareholder returns, although the direct correlation might be nuanced. Similarly, the report looks at how executive pay stacks up against the company's net income. This helps to gauge if the company's financial success is reflected in the compensation packages of its top brass. In my opinion, INTERPARFUMS appears to be on a solid trajectory. Their stock performance relative to the market and peers is a strong indicator of successful strategic execution. The increase in dividends is also a good sign for investors, showing confidence in future earnings. While the compensation structure, particularly the fees paid to holding company arrangements, requires a close look by investors, showing confidence in future earnings, while the compensation structure, particularly the fees paid to holding company arrangements, requires a close look by investors. Alright, that's our deep dive into INTERPARFUM's latest filing. What do you think about their executive compensation and those HOOP shares? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this breakdown helpful, smash that like button and subscribe for more corporate insights. And don't forget to join our Discord community linked in the description for even more discussions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.